In 1936, a 23-year-old Cambridge student invented a machine that cannot be built, solved a problem by proving it was unsolvable, and accidentally invented computer science. His name was Alan Turing. He was also, incidentally, running the 100 meters in Olympic qualifying time. This is the story of how one man drew the boundary around what machines can and cannot do, and why that boundary still holds today. The story begins not with Turing, but with a question. In 1928, the great German mathematician David Hilbert stood before an international congress and asked, "Is there a mechanical procedure that can determine, for any mathematical statement whatsoever, whether it is true or false?" He called it the Entscheidungsproblem, the decision problem. Hilbert was not being casual. He genuinely expected the answer to be yes. Build a machine. Feed it any mathematical claim. Outcomes true or false. No ambiguity. No uncertainty. Mathematics, once and for all, solved. The idea was intoxicating. If such a procedure existed, every open conjecture, every unsolved problem, every question humanity had ever asked about numbers and structures and infinity could be answered by turning a crank. Two people independently proved him wrong. Alonzo Church in Princeton, using a formalism called lambda calculus, and Alan Turing in Cambridge, using something far more vivid. An imaginary machine. The Turing machine is absurdly simple. Picture an infinite tape, stretching in both directions forever, divided into cells. Each cell holds a symbol. A 0. A 1. Or blank. Hovering above the tape is a read-write head. It looks at one cell at a time. And it follows a set of rules, a table, that says, if you are in state A and you read a 1, then write a 0, move one cell to the right, and switch to state B. That is the entire machine. Read. Write. Move. Change state. No memory chips. No processor. No operating system. No screen. Just a tape, a head, and a rule table. It sounds like a toy. But Turing proved that this absurd little device can compute anything that any computer ever built can compute. Your phone, running 1 billion transistors at gigahertz speeds, is mathematically equivalent to a head sliding along an infinite tape. A supercomputer simulating a nuclear explosion. A quantum computer factoring enormous primes. All of them are, in the precise mathematical sense, Turing machines. They are just faster. The tape doesn't care about speed. It only cares about what is computable. And that, it turns out, has a hard boundary. Let us watch one work. We will build a Turing machine that adds 1 to a binary number. The tape reads 1011. That is 11 in binary. The head starts at the rightmost digit. Our rule table has 2 states. State A says, if you read a 1, write a 0 and stay in state A. Move left. That is the carry. If you read a 0, write a 1, and go to state halt. If you read a blank, write a 1, and go to state halt. Simple enough. Let us run it. Step 1. Head reads 1. Write 0. Carry. Move left. Step 2. Head reads 1. Write 0. Carry. Move left. Step 3. Head reads 0. Write 1. Halt. The tape now reads 1100. That is 12 in binary. 11 plus 1 equals 12. We just did arithmetic with 4 rules and an infinite tape. No multiplication tables. No memorized facts. Just a head, obeying rules, one cell at a time. And this same principle, follow simple rules long enough, is how every computation you have ever used actually works. Now here is the extraordinary part. Turing showed you can build a universal Turing machine. A single machine that takes as input the description of any other Turing machine plus that machine's input and simulates it perfectly. One machine to rule them all. A machine that can pretend to be any machine. Think about what this means. You do not need a separate machine for addition, another for subtraction, another for sorting a list, another for checking if a number is prime. You need one machine and different instructions. The tape contains both the program and the data. That is software. Turing invented the concept of software in 1936. 11 years before the first stored program computer was built. 11 years before anyone had the hardware to make the idea physically real. He did not need a computer to invent computing. He only needed a proof. But Turing was not trying to build computers. He was trying to answer Hilbert's question. And to do that, he needed to find something that no Turing machine, and therefore no computer, no algorithm, no procedure of any kind, can do. He found it. It is called the halting problem. And it is one of the most important results in all of mathematics. Here is the question. Given a program and an input, can you determine whether the program will eventually stop, or whether it will run forever? Some programs are obvious. A program that prints hello and stops. That halts. A program that counts upward forever. That loops. But what about a program that searches for an even number that is not the sum of two primes? Nobody knows whether it halts. That is Goldbacher's conjecture, and it has been open for centuries. The question is not whether you or I can figure it out. The question is whether any mechanical procedure, any algorithm, can always give the right answer for every possible program. Turing's proof is a masterpiece of self-destruction. Suppose, for the sake of contradiction, that a halting oracle exists. Call it H. H takes any program P and any input I, and it always, correctly outputs either halts or loops. H never gets it wrong. H always finishes. Now Turing builds a diabolical new machine. Call it D. D takes a program P as input. D feeds P to H, asking the question, does P halt when given its own source code as input? If H answers halts, then D deliberately loops forever. If H answers loops, then D deliberately halts immediately. D does the opposite of whatever H predicts. Now, run D on itself. Feed D its own source code as input. Suppose D halts. Then H must have said loops, because D only halts when H says loops. But H said loops means D runs forever. And D halted. So H was wrong. Contradiction. Suppose des loops. Then H must have said halts, because D only loops when H says halts. But H said halts means D finishes. And D looped. So H was wrong. Contradiction. Both cases end in contradiction. Therefore H cannot exist. The halting problem is undecidable. No algorithm can solve it. Not now. Not ever. Not with better hardware, or more memory, or 1,000 years of clever programming. The limit is mathematical. It is absolute. And that answers Hilbert. If there were a mechanical procedure to decide all mathematical truths, you could use it to solve the halting problem. You would simply ask, is it true that this program halts on this input? And the decision procedure would tell you. But the halting problem is provably unsolvable. So the decision procedure cannot exist. The Entscheidungs problem is a no. This connects directly to Gödel's incompleteness theorems, published 5 years earlier. Gödel showed that any consistent formal system powerful enough for arithmetic contains true statements it cannot prove. Turing showed that any mechanical procedure fails to decide all questions about computation. They are two edges of the same blade, swung at the same dream, by mathematicians who actually talk to each other. Turing visited Princeton. He met Gödel. Church was his doctoral advisor. The three of them, working within a few years of each other, drew a permanent boundary around the reach of formal reasoning. Then the war happened. In September 1939, Turing was recruited to Bletchleypark, a country estate in Buckinghamshire that became the centre of British code-breaking. The Germans were using the Enigma machine to encrypt their military communications. Enigma was an electromechanical cipher device with 3 or 4 rotors, a plug board, and a reflector. Each key press passed an electrical signal through the rotors, which scrambled the letter. After each key press, at least one rotor stepped forward, changing the cipher for the next letter. The total number of possible settings was enormous. 159 million. Brute force, trying every setting one by one, was completely hopeless. Turing designed the bomb. An electromechanical device, taller than a man, that exploited the logical structure of Enigma's rotors to eliminate impossible settings at enormous speed. The bomb did not try every combination. It used contradictions, much like a proof by contradiction, to rule out vast swathes of the search space at once. If a proposed setting led to a letter encrypting as itself, which Enigma could never do, the bomb rejected that entire branch and moved on. By 1942, Bletchley was reading German naval traffic in near real time. The intelligence was codenamed Ultra. Historians estimate it shortened the war by at least 2 years and saved millions of lives. Turing received an OBE. The work itself remained classified for decades. After the war, Turing designed real computers. The automatic computing engine at the National Physical Laboratory. Then the Manchester Mark I at the University of Manchester. He wrote what may have been the first programming manual ever written. He thought about artificial intelligence before the term existed. In 1950, he published a paper asking, "Can machines think?" He proposed a test. Put a human judge behind a screen. Let them converse with 2 entities, one human, one machine. If the judge cannot reliably tell which is which, the machine is, for all practical purposes, intelligent. He called it the imitation game. We call it the Turing test. 75 years later, we are still arguing about what it means. He also studied morphogenesis, the mathematics of how biological patterns form. Leopard spots. Zebra stripes. How a ball of identical cells becomes a structured organism. He published equations for chemical pattern formation that were confirmed experimentally decades after his death. In January 1952, Turing's house was burgled. During the police investigation, he mentioned, almost casually, his relationship with a man named Arnold Murray. Homosexuality was a criminal offense in Britain. Turing was charged with gross indecency under the same law that had been used against Oscar Wilde. He did not deny the charges. He did not hide. He was given a choice: prison or chemical castration through estrogen injections. He chose the injections. His security clearance was revoked. He was banned from all intelligence work. He could no longer visit the United States. The man who had arguably saved more lives than any other single individual in the Second World War was treated as a criminal by the country he had saved. The injections caused physical changes. He reportedly grew breast tissue. Colleagues described him as increasingly withdrawn. But he kept working. He kept running. He kept thinking about morphogenesis and the nature of intelligence. On the 7th of June, 1954, Alan Turing was found dead in his home in Wilmslow, Cheshire. A half-eaten apple lay beside his bed. Potassium cyanide poisoning. He was 41 years old. The inquest ruled it suicide. His mother insisted it was accidental, that he had been careless with chemicals from a home experiment. Some historians agree. We will probably never know. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth granted a posthumous royal pardon. In 2021, his face appeared on the Bank of England £50 note. Rather late. So here is what Alan Turing did. He formalized what it means to compute. He proved that some problems have no algorithmic solution. He helped win a world war. He laid the theoretical foundation for every computer, every program, every app, every algorithm that has ever run or ever will run. He asked whether machines can think, and invented a test we still cannot settle. He was destroyed by his own government for the crime of being himself. The tape halts. But the ideas run forever.